Well, that's a great question. I think there are a lot of concerns that why would the Bashar al-Assad regime would use chemical weapon? Why United Nations mandate is in Syria? Well, there are a couple of I think responses to that questions. Either I think the regime was thinking that they can get away with it this time and nobody will just realize that they use chemical weapon against that area. And I think the question is very difficult, I think, now to know really who used the chemical weapon. I think there are strong evidence that chemical weapon has been used. Doctor Without Border, they reported that more thousands of patients who came to their clinics, they had some kind of neurotoxic symptoms. So I think there is strong evidence that chemical weapon has been used, but still, I think there has not been 100% answer to the question that who used the chemical weapon, whether the rebels or whether Assad regime. The rebels don't have the capability still to use to create chemical weapon and to use it. So the only option which is left here is that Assad regime used it, and he thought that the regime thought that they can get away with it this time. I think this is a great question, and it's a complicated one. I think it all depends on the scope of the military action that is going to be carried out from France or, let's say, United States, whether it is a large military intervention like what we saw in Iraq or what we saw in Afghanistan, or is it just limited military operation? And I think there are strong indications that it's going to be just a military, limited military operation. The West really doesn't have any appetite now to intervene completely in Syria, to put troops on the ground. I think it's going to be just a few missiles from the Mediterranean Sea into some to target some military bases in Syria, which are believed to have used chemical weapon, to have launched chemical weapon from those bases. And I think if it's a limited military operation, it's really not going to change the balance of power in Syria or in the region. And the United States, the Obama administration, I think, said they definitely are not going to. They're not after changing regime in Syria. It's just send a signal to Assad that chemical weapon is a red line. And I think most importantly, this is really some sort of face saving for the West, because there are so many people killed there, and the West has not really reacted. And also for a year they were saying that it's a red line to use chemical weapon. Chemical weapon has been used for a long time. So they just want, I think, to save face that they reacted and they launched few missiles in Syria. There are other reports that came out from, as I said, from Doctor Without Borders and United States. I think the Obama administration is saying that their own intelligence, they have strong evidence that the chemical weapon has been used, and they're going to put out the intelligence. But I think it's really a dangerous move, because there was the same, I think, explanation for Iraq, and they went and there was no chemical weapon. So I think, from my perspective, I think they have to wait until the UN, I think, sends its report. But again, I think even United Nations is, I think, report is going to comply with, I think, the Doctors Without Border report. But again, I think Obama last year said that this is a red line, and the red line was crossed several times. And I think they believe that they should act on their words. Otherwise, nobody will take their words anymore seriously. Well, I think the West can't really guarantee that there wouldn't be a mess. I think if this country has been ruled by dictatorships for decades, and when you have when you remove the dictators from power, you have all those underlying, I think, tensions or those underlying differences come to the surface. All these ideologies and all different groups come to the surface, and for the first time, they want to struggle to define their own country and their own political structure. So I think they really can't guarantee that. But I think that the best way is just to leave the people on those countries to decide what kind of government they want to set up, and what kind of political structure they want to establish, and it should be all based on the I think self-determination. I don't think so. I think that there has been a lot of reports that Iran will attack Israel or Russia will attack other countries. I think all these are some sort of overstatement. I think if we have a limited military operation, which is just launching a few missiles, I don't think Russia will really go into a war with other countries, and there is no justification why they would attack Qatar or Saudi Arabia. So I think these are some just exaggeration and overstatements. I don't think Russia really wants now in this situation to turn this war in Syria into a regional configuration. There is really no a credible alternative still to Assad. And I think there was the high general in the United States, also General Dempsey, said that even if Assad is toppled, there is really no efficient alternative. And now, if you look at I think the battle in Syria, the most I think successful, organized, coordinated, and pre-planned rebel groups are actually the Islamists and the jihadists. They have proved that they are more successful than even the Free Syrian Army or other groups. And I think they really have to look at the Syrian conflict from broader perspective. They have to look at all these groups inside Syria, all the parties in the region that are involved, and also all the countries internationally which are involved. I think they have to bring these three levels together in order to address the problem in Syria. Otherwise, I think you're absolutely correct. This can be counterproductive. Well, I think it's more complicated than that, but I'm sure that when it comes to Al-Qaeda definitely is will always find ways to capitulate. I think on to capitulate and also to invest, I think, on people's grievances, and to use them in order to achieve their ideological and political agenda. And I think I think you asked the West. I think we have to define what do you mean by the West? Is it I think it's a large area, the West, and each country has a different. I think for probably the system of governments or political structure. So I think from I think if you look at the what happened, I think in the last two wars in the region, I think it is one of the concern is really how to bring all these different groups inside these countries to so they can really define their system of governance. And I think that's the most important thing. But again, I'm sure that there are some groups like the Islamists or other groups that they always want to define the system of governments based on their ideologies.